This is going to be a really hard video to make, guys, because I was wrong. Here are the Nike Savaleos. So in my last video, I claimed, which I got a lot of hate for, I might point out, I said that the Nike Savaleos were too good to be true. Because they were being released on April Fools, and because it was a play on Romaleos, Metcons, I just didn't believe it. I honestly didn't believe it. But here they are. Now, it actually took me quite a lot of time to get my hands on these. I originally ordered them from Wit Fitness, who then told me that my order had gone through, but that they had like an error with the shipment or an error with like their stock. And I was like, sounds like April Fools. But again, I was wrong. I'm seeing a theme here. So here they are. Here we go. First impressions of the Nike Savaleos. Whoa. It's actually weird to be like holding them in my hands. I don't like them. Now I should say, in order to make this video as fair and as good as possible, I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible as a weightlifter. I have enlisted the trusty help of Metcon 5s, ROM 2s and ROM 3s to be able to give like a really big like comparison and overview as to like what I think the Nike Savaleos do and what they are made for, and whether they really fit the job or whether there was really a need to make a shoe to fit that job. So let's start on first impressions. I actually quite not like the look of the shoe, but it is a little bit different. It kind of reminds me of like a basketball shoe mixed with like a Metcon mixed with a weightlifting shoe. To be honest, it feels like a little bit plasticky to me. It has like the 15-inch heel with a big sticky out bit here, which I imagine is supposed to do the same as the sticky out bit on the Metcon to help with like handstand push-ups and things like that, to make it really easy to like glide up and down the wall. Has a similar strap to the ROMs, which feels pretty flimsy to me, to be honest. The tongue of the shoe is actually much better than in the ROM 3s and is very similar to the ROM 4s, because in the ROM 3s they're quite thin and flimsy and rip really easily. Here they feel quite sturdy and quite nice. What really confuses me is that it has Nike Weightlifting written on the shoe, when, to be honest, the only weightlifting shoe is the Romaleos, so I don't know what they're playing at. Will they do their job though, is the main question. So let's start with 5 things that I actually like about the Nike Savaleos. I quite like the fact that the shoe does look quite wide at the front of the foot, which is very similar to the ROM 2s in that it'll probably fit a lot more range of people. So if you have a wider foot or a narrower foot, the shoe will fit well. Tongue of the shoe is really sturdy, and the hard plastic does mean that it will be very durable and very long lasting, which is a synonym for durable. The obvious point to make is obviously that the Nike Savaleo is slightly more affordable than the Metcons or the ROMs. So ROMs usually start about £180 and the Metcons start at around £130, £140, whereas the Nike Savaleos start at £104.95. So it does mean that it's slightly more available to like, well, really, I don't know, slightly more available to a wider range of people purely because of its price tag. And if the shoe actually works, it does also mean that you don't have to change between a Metcon or a lifter during your WODs or during your like weightlifting workout. So in that sense, I suppose it's quite handy that you don't need 2 pairs of shoes in your bag. So that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Nike Savaleos. Now, in my previous video that I made about the Nike Savaleos, when I said that I didn't think that they were real and I didn't think that they were actually going to release because I thought it was an April Fool's, I still am not really sure why they released these Nike Savaleos. In my opinion, they've created like this really weird imaginary market where they think that another shoe is needed when really the Metcon and the Romaleos already do the job. You can lift in Metcons, I do it all the time and it's not a problem at all, but I do choose to have a weightlifting shoe if ever like I'm going for a PR, if I'm doing just like a pure weightlifting session. There's literally nothing wrong with using the shoes like interchangeably. Whilst I appreciate that it is supposed to be cheaper than the Metcon and the Romaleos, I don't understand why they can't just make the Metcons more affordable and the Romaleos more affordable if they are able to create a shoe called the Savaleos for £104. You're telling me that they can't make a Romaleo for 100 quid? Right. The other thing that I don't really agree with the Savaleos is that they're supposed to be this mid-range between having a weightlifting shoe and having a Metcon. Like, if you do purely weightlifting, then I think that it may be worth, like, over time investing in a Romaleo. But equally, when you first start weightlifting, there is literally no need for it as long as you have a hard, flat shoe. That is the most important thing, and I've said it so many times in my videos before, which you can find the link for up here, is that you don't actually need a weightlifting shoe when you first start out weightlifting. The most important thing is to be able to hit those positions comfortably, even barefoot, before you step anywhere near a Romaleo. So I feel like creating the Savaleos has just meant that it's making it more accessible for people to skip around like the mobility area and skip around almost earning the shoe that you work out in, because you shouldn't be jumping for a shoe before you are able to control those ranges, if you know what I mean. The third thing that I'm not so keen about the Savaleos is they do feel cheap. Like, I understand that obviously these are £30 less expensive than the Metcons and about £70 less expensive than the Romaleos, but they're made from like this really weird plastic material that I really just don't think is that nice. The strap to me just feels like it's not super stretchy, so if you really did want to pull it, I reckon it would probably rip over time. And it's got like these weird like flimsy plastic bits like hanging off the side, which I'm not so keen on. I think that they're also less comfortable than the Romaleos and the Metcons. I think they both hug your foot a bit better and feel a lot more comfortable. So whilst you're paying less of a price for the Savaleos, I do think that you're compromising on quality a little bit, and especially when you're working out or when you're doing weightlifting, it's so important to have something that really does like feel comfortable on your foot. Otherwise there's literally no point in wearing them. Fourthly, I'm really having trouble understanding how this shoe can be worn for WODs. Like, say you've got like the running WOD and then like overhead squats. I really doubt that this is the shoe that you're going to reach for when you do those WODs, because it is extremely uncomfortable to run in. The really hard sole and the inflexibility of the sole makes running really difficult, whereas with a Metcon you can bend it like literally any way and it's super comfortable to run in, and it's also sturdy enough and has enough support to be able to do like overhead squats, to be able to do any sort of lifting movement. So I just think that where it's supposed to be a cross between a CrossFit shoe and a weightlifting shoe, I just really don't see the place for it. I don't see how it fits that role. Basically, all the 5 annoying things that I find about the Savaleo is just basically that they've created a shoe that doesn't need to be created. We already have the Roms, we already have the Metcons. We don't need a midway shoe that doesn't really do either one of the jobs well. It basically does half a weightlifting shoe, half a Metcon, and it's just not good enough. Like, you can't wear it for running, you can wear it for weightlifting and it will be sturdy enough, but if you really want a weightlifting shoe that does weightlifting shoes, you're going to choose the Roms. And if you want a shoe that's going to take you through every single WOD where you don't have to worry about it being uncomfortable, you're going to choose a Metcon. I really just don't see where the Savaleos fit into this equation. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. I hope that it helps. I obviously understand that I am maybe a little bit biased because I do weightlifting, but I do some CrossFit, and I do think that if I were ever going to do CrossFit, I would not reach for Savaleos. I would reach for a hard-soled but flexible shoe like a Metcon, or even like a Converse or like a Vans shoe. Those do the job very well. I just think that it's not an investment that is worth making, and Nike have really missed the boat on this one, you know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have bought any, how your experience has been. I want to know. Share with me and we can talk about it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like where you at. I like everything about it.